My fellow Americans, this is not a test. I am here to talk about what you can do to save America. Now, you may feel overwhelmed like me. You may feel a knot in your stomach. I feel terrified. Um, so, here's what I'm going to say. As I've been saying, things are getting bad. Things are only going to get worse. Elon Musk has some kind of control over our government, has access to our federal funding, which most of us rely on in one way or another. He is not an elected official. He is an appointee. He is not an appointee confirmed by the Senate or even a legit Fed. So why the hell has he been given access to fire federal employees, given sensitive government data and access to federal payment systems? He must be stopped, and we can stop him. We have to do something. I'm not going to bury my head in the sand. I'm going to do something. And here's what you can do now. And if enough of us do it, it will matter. So hang on. I'm going to read this off to you, and then I'm going to show you an example of of a script, how you can contact your governor or your representative or senator. And what I'm going to do is I'll put in the about section or the description of this video, I'll put in there some example or links to this so that you can read from it if you want to, change the wording up if you want to, but we need to make these calls and we need to make them every day, because the only people who can stop this are the people who are in office in Washington besides Trump. So there are two things that we should be doing all the time right now. You should not be bothering with online petitions or emailing. And yes, I'm reading. The best thing you can do to be heard and get your congressperson to pay attention is to have face-to-face time. If you have town halls, go to them. Go to your local offices. If you're in DC, try to find a way to go to an event of theirs. Go to the mobile offices that their staff hold periodically. You can find these locations on your congressperson's website. When you go, ask questions, ask a lot of questions, and push for answers. The louder and more vocal and present you can be at those, the better. But those in-person events don't happen every day. So the absolute most important thing that people should be doing every day is calling. You should make 6 calls a day, 2 each. DC office and your local office, to your 2 senators and your 1 representative. I think that's backwards. 2 senators and 1 representative. I think it's 2 representatives and 1 senator. Anyway, call your representatives. You can find out who those are online. The staffer was very clear that any sort of online contact basically gets immediately ignored, and letters pretty much get thrown in the trash, unless you have a particularly strong emotional story. But even then, it's not worth the time it took you to craft that letter. Calls are what all Congresspeople pay attention to. Every single day, the senior staff and the senator get a report of the 3 most called about topics for the day at each of their offices in DC and local offices, and exactly how many people said what about each of these topics. They're also sorted by zip code and area code. She said that Republican callers generally outnumber Democrat callers 4-1. And when it's a particular issue that single issue voters pay attention to, like gun control or Planned Parenthood funding, etc., it's often closer to 11-1. Listen to that if you're a Democrat. 11-1. Let's let our voices be heard. And that's recently pushed Republican congressmen on the fence to vote with the Republicans. In the last 8 years, Republicans have called and Democrats haven't. So when calling the DC office, ask for the staff member in charge of whatever you're calling about. Hi, I'd like to speak with the staffer in charge of healthcare, please. Local offices won't always have specific ones, but they might. If you get transferred to that person, great. If you don't, that's okay. Ask for that person's name and then just keep talking to whoever answered the phone. Don't leave a message unless the office doesn't pick up at all. Then you can. But it's better to talk to the staffer who first answered that than leave a message for the specific staffer in charge of your topic. Give them your zip code. They won't always ask for it, but make sure you give it to them so they can mark it down. Extra points if you live in a zip code that traditionally votes for them, since they want to make sure they keep your vote or get your vote in the next election. If you can, make it personal. I voted for you in the last election and I'm worried, happy, whatever, or I'm a teacher and I'm appalled by, or as a single mother, or as a white middle-class woman, or whatever. Pick 1 to 2 specific things per day to focus on. Don't rattle off everything you're concerned about. They're figuring out what 1 to 2 topics to mark you down for on their list. So focus on 1 to 2 per day, ideally something that will be voted on, taken up in the next few days, but it doesn't really matter. Even if there's not a vote coming up in the next week, call anyway. It's important that they just keep getting calls. Take your time, people. It doesn't take that much time to do this. Be clear on what you want. I'm disappointed that the senator, or I want to thank the senator for their vote on, or I want the senator to know that voting in blank way is the wrong decision for your state, because don't leave any ambiguity. They may get to know your voice, get sick of you. It doesn't matter. The people answering the phones generally turn over every 6 weeks anyway. So even if they're really sick of you, they'll be gone in 6 weeks. From experience, since the election, if you hate being on the phone and feel awkward, which a lot of us do, don't worry about it. There are a bunch of scripts. Indivisible has some. There are lots of others floating around these days. As I said, I'm going to share one with you, and then I'm going to post links to some of these. After a few days of calling, it starts to feel a lot more natural. Put the 6 numbers in your phone, all under P, politician. An example is McCaskill, Missouri, politician McCaskill, D.C., politician Blunt, Missouri, etc., which makes it really easy to click down the list each day. Okay, here's a script. I'm going to read it to you, and you can print this out, but I'm going to give you a link to this in the description of this video so you can pull it up and just read from it if you want to. So you want to go, hi, my name is, and then your name, and I'm a constituent from. Make sure you give your city and make sure you give your zip code. This is an example of if you're calling about Elon Musk, which I think today is what we need to be doing, in my opinion, today. There's going to be plenty of other things to call about, but he's got access to everything about you via the federal Treasury Department or whatever. He's got his little tech guys. He's got full access to everything about us. Hi, my name is, and I'm a constituent from my zip code. I'm calling to express my outrage over Elon Musk's unlawful and undemocratic takeover of the federal government, and I ask that blank blank, whoever you're calling about, forcefully speak out against an unelected billionaire having undue influence on and control over our government's data, personnel, and payment systems. Refuse to cooperate with Musk's private enterprise masking as a government agency. Support any legal challenges or investigations into Musk and his organization's activity. Halt all work in Congress until the unconstitutional power grabs stop. Thank you for your time and consideration. If leaving a voicemail, please leave your full street address to ensure your call is tallied. So that's what we're going to talk about. I mean, that's what you're going to say, something in that nature. Make sure you give your zip code. They want to know where you're calling from. If you're a voter, if you're in a red area and you call and you're a Democrat, I don't even know if they're going to pay attention. Well, what you need to do is you need to do something, because this is not going to stop. It's not just going to stop. Trump has got control over the House and the Senate and a Republican-based Supreme Court, and he is willing to do and say anything to get what he wants. We're in the middle of a trade war. We just started a trade war. It's turbulent times. People are afraid. We've got to do something. Don't put your head in the sand. You can make this happen. Thanks for watching. Please share this out, because some people are not on, like, this is on YouTube. You can share it wherever. You can share it wherever you want to. You can share it in an email. We got to get the word out, and I just need y'all to help me with this, because I'm worried. I'm concerned, and I don't know what to do other than this at this time. And I'm full into it. So let's do it. Let's save America now.